This shop has heard it all. Real stories, real men. Welcome to the podcast, Behind the Chair.
Southside baby standing on biz. Got no life, I'm standing on his. 3 days later, we resurrected, all perfected, standing on biz.
This your boy, D, your favorite barber. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is D, your favorite barber. Episode 2, Behind the Chair. And guys, listen, today's episode is super special, man, near and dear to my heart. You know why? Because I got my team with me today. I can't do what I do without my team. All right. I got my Jordan. I got my Pippen. I got my Dennis Rodman. I got my BJ Armstrong, Steve Kerr, whoever y'all want to be. But today is very special because these are my brothers, man. I probably spend more time with these guys than I spend with my own family. So I appreciate y'all being a part of the podcast today, but thank y'all more than anything being a part of the team. Man. All right, so we're gonna go down the line. We got Chad, I got Drew, we got KJ, man. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man. We'll kick it off with Chad.
How y'all doing, man? I'm Chad. I guess I'm the dentist of the team, man. I like them rebounds. But nah, man, I been a standing ovation for almost 4 years. Amazing barbershop. Just happy to be here.
What's up, everybody? I'm Drew. I'm the newest member of Standing Ovation. It's my first year being a professional barber. And I grew up here in Charlotte. I've been here for almost 20 years. So, and thank you, D, for having me on here as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm KJ, aka I guess Chris as well. But you don't need to know the last name; it's too hard to pronounce. I've been in the shop for I believe about 9 years. But just love the culture, love being here. Just love all y'all guys, man. Y'all make me get through the day for sure. Being here, it's like you said, it's like everybody's like my brother. So it's an enjoyable shop.
Yep. Appreciate that, man.
Right.
But let's get right into it, man. We're just gonna spark a conversation, man. Man, the state of the industry right now. You know, let's put our finger on the neck and just check the pulse of it. You got the new school versus the old school. Drew, man, talk to me, man. I think you represent new school, fresh in the game. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, you're just great at what you do already. I feel like you're way beyond your years. But speak to me, man, about where you feel like new school versus old school in terms of the industry.
Absolutely, D. You know, for me, just being my age, I can definitely, relate to the new generation. But I definitely see a lot of the problems that, my new generation sees. I think one of the biggest things is that, my generation were lacking the professionalism that the old generation had. I think a big thing with that social media, right? I think a lot of barbers in my generation, we're going after, the clout, the followers, the money, all these things. We're trying to be celebrity barbers, but we're not really getting down to the fundamentals of barbering, what the industry is really about. We care more about, how many people follow us and, really building a relationship with our clients that we do have, And I think another thing too is like, we're trying to have instant gratification. We don't want to work, to get to the top. We want to take the shortcuts, and skip the steps. But, you ask any OG barber in his industry, they'll tell you can't skip the steps. Yeah. You got to start from the bottom and work all the way up to the top. And, I think for me, man, it's just like, just from being with you guys, D, KJ, and Chad, I've learned a lot from you guys. I think all you guys bring in that old generation mindset that this industry definitely needs, just a hard work. First one to shop, last one to leave, even working on the holidays and, the working the long hours, all those, all the things that, necessarily you don't want to put in, but you need to be successful, and that's why I appreciate you guys for sure.
Absolutely, man. You spoke to so much, man. Thank you for that. I scroll IG from time to time and, man, there's barbers that's charging $150 for a haircut. Now, is it crazy? Actually, I'm okay with that. But as long as you can justify why you're charging somebody $150 for a haircut. You see what I'm saying? So to your point, you talked about skipping the steps. I think number one, the first step, I think that barbers that are operating like that, because it's not all of them are like that, but I'm just saying the ones that are operating where they're skipping the steps is first, you're here to serve a client. You know, you're here to like build a relationship. You're here to be a pillar to the community. Those types of things. I feel like if you have those things, organically it'll just happen over time. You know, just like planting a seed into a garden. You can't plant a seed today, then go to the garden and expect a harvest. You got to put the seed in the ground, go through some dark times at first, but keep watering that seed by you being consistent and you being a good steward of your craft. So I think you hit something really key, because me personally, I feel like I got one foot in the new and I got a little pinky toe in the old. So I kind of consider myself as being more of that bridge. I can kind of bring both generations together. But me personally, I definitely feel like the professionalism is something that's lacking in a lot of cases. That's what I feel like us at Standing Ovation can bring to the industry, is help bring and restore some of those elements that's been lost in the industry.
100% agree, D. Yeah. And I think a lot of people that don't know this, that are in the industry, is that, you know, barbers, we started as surgeons, you know. So I don't know what happened, but I think, you know, from when we started as surgeons to now, it was just over time we lost that professionalism. You know, we lost that, you know, I guess respect. You know. And I've had situations with clients and, you know, people that I've cut, you know, considering my age, they'll ask me like, you know, Drew or Drewski, you know, are you gonna, you know, go back to school, or do you just do barbering part-time? Yeah. But for me, that's like, you know, kind of an insult, because this isn't, you know, a hobby. This isn't just a side hustle. This is my career. This is my purpose. This is my profession. Yeah. You know, I try to treat it that way. You know, this isn't just something that, you know, I plan to do for a little bit. This is something that I plan to do the rest of my life, you know, and carry on to other, you know, aspirations I have in the future.
And you're only 21.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about it.
You know, and I think that's one of the things that, you know, needs to change, is just bring that, you know, respect back to this industry, you know.
100%. 100%. Chad?
Yeah, I feel in the same vein. I think at my age, I can see both sides. I think that the older generation of barbers definitely laid the foundation, how to build a book from the ground up, build a clientele, you know, working and open to close, working holidays, the overall business. The barbering business is really the essentials of business. Yeah. We have a product, the haircut, and the clientele. You know, how do you feel about my service? And your service dictates your schedule. That's how it works. Are you consistent? Can you be there on time? Can you make people? Can you have a flow to where you're not having people sit for 30 to 45 minutes? Are you, you know, giving a good haircut, a good blend, sharp lines? You know, there's just so many things that go into this industry. But I think overall, D, you speaking to being the bridge, I think that we need to, instead of, well, the older barbers did it this way and the younger barbers are doing it this way, we need to be able to look at each other and say, hey, I see the way, the work ethic that this older man put into being a barber, the blood, sweat, and tears that he put in to being a barber. Some of them still don't even have appointment systems. They have a book, a paper book, where they write down they write down their times. You know, everybody's been to barbershops. I'm sure y'all have seen the picture on the wall where, hey, I want A1 or B2, the haircut, you know.
That's old school.
Definitely old school. But you have to be able to see with these newer barbers, man, after COVID, you know, everybody's seen the value in having your haircut. And the fastest way I think you can show people the value in having your haircut is if they try to cut hair themselves. They at home, you know, first I'm gonna start with my son, you know, then hey, if it looks decent, I'm gonna try to get myself a cut. And then you end up at the shop. Everybody was so thankful when the shops opened back up, including us, you know? And it's a thing where social media is here, you know? Social media is here. We need to take advantage of it, as you can see by us doing this podcast. 100%. But at the end of the day, the craft, the art, the grind of being a barber, you know, I come my barber school and the way that I was raised in this industry is a barber is not a part-time lifestyle because you're an entrepreneur. You know, this is something, if you want to do it, man, spend your time every minute you have doing this. And I'm of that vein. You know, I love this industry. I love being a barber, and I think that we are just tapping into what's possible with it.
Like the pole and what it represents. So a lot of people people in our industry, I hope, know what the pole represents, but a lot of people that don't know anything really about our industry and everything else, like the pole represents a lot, because like the white and the pole is like the bandaging, because we were pretty much taking care of soldiers and everything like that back in the old days. So we would, if you got a gunshot wound or a cut, or we had to cut your leg off, all that type, that's what we did. We were also dentists, and then we were also the blue, and that pole represents the veins. So it's just a lot of that, and then the red, of course, means blood. So we really our how you say it, like our barbering industry, like we've, at first, like I said, we did everything. We were surgeons, so we were doctors, and then we were dentists, and then we were barbers. Yeah. So, I mean, the industry now, you would think that we wouldn't make a whole lot of great money or anything like that, make a great career out of it, because how, kind of like what people were saying with you, like this is a part-time job. Like, no, this is our full-time job, our career. Yeah. So we go from that, and then, I mean, just looking at the industry itself, this is just in men's grooming. I think the industry, maybe last year, I think we made, like, annually was, man, $74 billion. The whole barbering industry as one. That's just
men's grooming.
Just men's grooming. It's crazy how you see all that compared to what we're saying, like 90s, like 90s era, super struggling. Nobody got haircuts anymore. They're letting their hair all grow. Same with the 70s. So, I mean, back then, it was more of a part-time job, because you had to hustle to try to get as many clients as you could and still work, but people weren't getting haircuts. Correct. And now it's just totally changed. Like, not to be funny, but I mean, a lot of men, especially high schoolers, teenagers, they take more care of their hair than the women are. So it's just, it's crazy to see that now. But it's definitely changed.
Yeah. I know one thing that was very powerful, man, is going back to what you were saying about COVID time 2020. I mean, I feel like that was like the moment in our industry where the button was pressed pause for a second. Mm. And what happened was it showed the value of what a barber is. We wasn't deemed as essential, but we really were essential. Mm-hmm. One thing that stopped was just the value of the community aspect of it, right? I'll say this. Hope I don't get myself in trouble by saying it, but I'm going to say it. I'm not going to call the name of these companies. But what happens is you have people that didn't put the blood, sweat, and tears into the industry. They want to start these franchises. I don't have to name the names of these places, right?
Exactly.
So what happens is, it's more than just cutting hair, but it's a community aspect of it. And I feel like if we really understand what a barbershop is to be to a community, just like in every community, you should have, in my opinion, you should have a school, you should have churches, you should have libraries, you should have a barbershop like Standing Ovation Barbershop, a place that literally has its thumb on the pulse of the community, where people come and they congregate, they build relationships, young, old, generational individuals. I feel like that's what the barbershop is supposed to be. And that's one thing that stopped during COVID time. So speak to that, guys. What do you feel a barbershop really means to a community and why that's important?
Well, I think with me, D, I can speak from my experience growing up in the barbershop, going Saturday mornings with my brother or dad, during this time it's before, appointments. So it's just walk in. So you get there like 8 in the morning, you probably stay there till like 1, 2 in the afternoon because it'd be that busy, right? You have 10 people in front of you, but through that experience, you know, you learn a lot in the barbershop, the wisdom and the knowledge that are passed down from the older generation to new generation, you know. And for me, a lot of the life lessons I've learned, you know, came from the barbershop, you know. And I think especially for men, it's a place where, you know, you have a free space to just, you know, let loose or decompress, you know. And I think a lot of men don't have that in their lives, you know. And I think men are, you know, and I know D says one time, men are like onions, you know, they're layers. You got to keep on scraping the layers till they open up, you know. And I think a lot of men, they don't have that free space to open up or, you know, just, you know, let loose, right? And I think a lot of men, like, might be husbands or might be, you know, fathers. So they have, you know, their families relying on them. You know, they might be bosses or managers, right? You know, so a lot of people depending on them, but they don't have somebody that they can depend on, you know. And I think the barbershop, that's a great place for men to do that, especially here at Standing Ovation. And I think, you know, for some men, they look at us as the therapist, honestly, because they feel more comfortable come to us than like if they actually went to an actual therapist, you know. And, you know, I'll give one example. It's one of my loyal clients, you know. I've been cutting him for, you know, for a while now since I've been here. You know, he's a guy, and I cut, you know, his boys too, right? And he was telling me this, you know, this time that, you know, he was going through a divorce. You know, he was going through a lot of, you know, just tough times with that mentally, you know, with his kids and him and all that. And, you know, for me, I always remember that because, like, you know, he trusted me enough to tell me that, you know, because he could, you know, say that to anybody, but he trusted me enough to tell me that. And I think for me, that spoke a lot for me just from my experiences in my life, you know. My parents divorced when I was super young, you know, so I understand from my kids' standpoint, you know. And I think that's just part of building those relationships and personal connections with people, you know, and being part of the community, you know, because people really need that, you know. And, you know, for some men and a lot of men, they can't get that from another place besides the barbershop. So,
But I'll speak to that too, man. I remember the first time I picked up a clipper, I was in middle school, and my dad just knew how to do just a buzz cut. I didn't get an edge. I didn't get no Nike symbol cut in the side of my head. It was just a straight buzz. And I'm an artist by nature, but as I got older, I began to understand that cutting hair is actually it's an art. It's a form of art. And I remember the first time that I cut somebody's hair and they began to tell me things about their life. I said, wow. I said, it's almost like this gift, this skill set that I've been able to obtain, it's actually just a key that unlocks relationships.
Boy.
And every day I get an opportunity to come here and just really just build relationships. And to me, that's why I feel like being a barber is much more than just cutting hair. Like if you're just cutting hair and you're not really taking advantage of the opportunity.
You're a hair cutter.
Yeah.
You're not a barber. You're a hair cutter.
Right. Yeah.
And to go back to what you were talking about, community, right?
Yeah.
And me and you talk about this a lot personally, which is this is connection. We are connectors. The other day I had a soon-to-be father here getting his hair cut, and one of the fellow business owners in the community, Matthews, that Standing Ovation serves. And I was able to put them in touch. They were able to build a relationship by themselves. Yeah. And I think we can look at our shop and we have police chiefs and police force, and we have doctors, and we have tech people, and we have mechanics, and we have young athletes and coaches and moms and little boys that all come in the shop, and we're able to have it flow around us to where A meets B and B meets C. Yeah. And now we're doing what? Community together.
Yeah.
And that's what it really comes down to, man, is what are you actually making a impact? You know, even to roll back a little bit to the social media, young barber, new barber. Social media is cool, but we're in a day and age where we need human contact. Yeah. You know, everybody, communication skills, being able to socialize, people need this at this point in time. And barbers and barber shops are a main setting for that. But I also want to, I know you didn't say no names about the businesses you're referring to, and I don't want to step on no toes, but for any barbers, stylists, business owners out there, KJ talked about the male grooming industry. I also want to refer to, we're in a shop setting. We all work together. We spend our lives together more times with each other sometimes than we do with our families, right? Mm-hmm. But there's also a portion of the industry that's doing what we refer to as suites. And suites is just a code word for real estate guys that have bought buildings and they lease them to barbers and stylists. So when you look at the grooming industry, just know that that part's not even being mentioned about people that have no invested interest into this making so many dollars off of what we do. Oh, yeah. And I thought that should be mentioned because it's a lot.
Oh, 100%. It is. 100%.
Yep.
100%. About you, KJ?
What was the question again?
Well, just community, like just the value of like what a barbershop means to a community, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, kind of like what y'all was saying earlier. That's another one of our, what do you call it? Our can't even think of the word now. What we kind of somewhat specialize in, but we didn't go to school for, is being kind of like therapists. Because like you said, guys come in here and they talk more than they do to their own probably wife or kids, and they tell us their issues. We try to tell them just what we think they could do. Just doing stuff like that. I mean, giving back. We always do cuts. I think ever since I've been working here, every year we go to the complex down here in Matthews, the big sports complex, and we give away, well, we don't give away, we do back to school free haircuts for all the kids and everything that can't really afford to get to the shop and get haircuts. So I love that we do that. Same thing like what you said. I mean, just so many people come in here that everybody just kind of communicates on that one. Like if I know somebody like a lawyer, somebody needs a lawyer, I can hook them up, and then that, and I mean it could be any kind of thing. We're kind of like the middleman when it comes to the barbershop. But I mean, I just love what we do, and I love that we help out the community as much as we can. Yeah.
I mean, I can just speak just me personally, man. I just feel like, man, I enjoy what I do. I've heard it before. I don't know who coined this phrase, but they said that if you find the thing that you love, you'll never work another day in your life.
That's right.
To me, that's what this is for me. And then it's connected to what I call is my purpose. I really feel like God has really built me to connect with people. I was in a completely different industry before I started cutting hair.
Yep.
I was designing houses, but I was in this small little cubicle. I was good at what I did, but I began to just not really enjoy it because I would have to escape to the bathroom to meet people.
Yeah. You wanted to talk to somebody.
I don't even smoke, right? I would go to the smoking sections right outside the buildings and say, well, those people, right? And I feel like I can go and just impact people. Well, little did I know, this how dope God is. Little did I know that what God was calling me to do was impact people. He can use my gift and my talent to do that.
Yes, sir.
And one thing the scriptures tells us, it says that your gifts will make room for you and place you in the presence of great men.
Ooh.
Bro, that's the cheat code for building clientele right there. Right? If you really hone your skill and you really walk in your gift that God has really called you, God gonna send people to you.
Yes, sir.
But you can't skip the steps, like Drew was saying earlier.
Patient.
You have to truly build your skill. My first day in the shop, when I came out of barber school, you know what my first 3 hours looked like?
What did it look like?
Empty, nothing, scared.
I was just about to say I was scared
like,
too.
Nervous, like,
well, I'll tell you, man.
I definitely was scared.
I think I did one cut my first day, but my first 3-4 hours was sweeping the floor, emptying the trash, cleaning the bathroom, greeting clients, observing barbers. That was where I wanted to be one day. But little did I know God was prepping me for where I am right now.
D, I wanna sort of ask you something though.
Yeah.
A little off base. For these new barbers that are coming into the industry, right? Can you talk a little about working with sharks? You know, to what it is to work with barbers that they have been in the industry and they know how to, for lack of better words, hustle.
Yeah.
And come up under the new barbers.
Yeah.
Could you speak to that?
I can 100% speak to that, but we might have to do a whole nother episode before I can get everything out. But yeah, man, I'm the type of person that I feel like we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and 2 eyes. So if you sit back and just observe the sharks, they'll come to their own demise over time.
Sir.
You see what I'm saying? Because what happened is when you stop operating in levels of integrity and character, you're just gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna have short-term gains,
Right.
but long-term, you're gonna have major loss. And what's gonna happen over time is people will gravitate to those that have integrity. They take serious their craft. So that's been my experience with the sharks.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right?
sir.
But like I said, when I first come into the industry, I recognized the sharks. I said, well, I don't want to mimic what he's doing.
That's right.
I don't want to do that.
Pure intentions.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the thing is, honestly, man, if you just really just find your niche, like what I did in the industry, I feel like my niche going into the industry, in barber school. I went to the best barber school on the planet, by the way. Prestige Styling Institute, Patrick Anderson.
Shout out to No Grease. Shout out to No Grease.
Shout out to Just For You.
Touch precision there.
Just For You.
So when I went to barber school, that's one thing that my barber school instructor, Patrick Anderson, he told me, he said, he said, what's different about you? Well, like, what are you going to bring different to the industry? What's going to set you apart? Man, I started doing little small things like doing hot towels. I didn't have a hot towel machine at the time. I had a microwave.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's barber school.
Right?
That's
and
it.
I would heat those I would heat those hot towels up to about 30 seconds.
Ooh,
And,
that's burning hot.
First time I did
Trying to
when
burn
I
your fingers off.
yeah, I almost burnt somebody.
Good.
But what he was trying to teach me is you got to constantly be reinventing yourself constantly.
Yep.
In my industry, in my time being in this shop, there's a few times where I was forced to just evolve.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because what happens a lot of times, you can get to a point where you're comfortable. I'm making X amount of dollars. I got X amount of clients. I'm good. When you say you're good, you're not good. Because it ain't gonna be good. So what happened was a lady runs her car into the barbershop one day. But at that moment, I was comfortable. I was starting to make some money. They say first 2-3 years you don't really make any money. I was just paying my bills. But year 3, I was making some money. I could really put money to the side. I could start investing some money and some resources. And the lady, she ran her car into the barbershop. Boom. One thing about tragedy, I realized 2 things are going to happen. It's going to force you to be creative, right? Creativity is birth. There's like tragedy sometimes is the incubator for creativity.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a position where I said, all right, this exposes a bad system that I had in place that I haven't built out yet. So a bad system in place that I didn't have, a bad system that I didn't have in place was I didn't have my clientele's contact information. I didn't do appointments. So I said, man, I'm sitting back, don't have a shop, lost my staff, lost a lot of clients. I said, when I get back, I'm gonna make sure that don't happen again. If it does happen again, I have a way to build that clientele back up.
Prepared.
Yeah. So that and then COVID time, honestly. Coming back to an industry that we didn't know what we was coming back to. But that time I had good systems in place.
Well, that was the first time, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, that was the first time that barbershops were ever shut down, like
Correct.
in its history, correct?
I think
Correct.
so, that I know of. Yeah.
So, and I think I wasn't here when the lady ran her car into the shop, but I think that's why your story is so valuable, man. I'm not gonna go into all details, but just your journey from Greenville, to coming here, different career, family, faith, and building Standing Ovation from the ground up. And just the pillar that you've became to this community. Yeah. Everybody look at D's face when you start giving him compliments because he's a real humble guy. You know what I'm saying? He don't dig that too much. But Yeah, man. I think that your story's valuable for any level of barbering.
Yeah.
You know, because you're somebody like our hours right now at the shop are 7 to 5. You know, during COVID or after COVID, D switched the hours from 7 to 3. You know, so we could get people early in the morning to midday because a lot of people were working remote.
Yeah.
And I think that just like you said, when you think you're good, you're not good, and you're always on the forefront, bro. You're always planning for the next step, and for not just barbers, for people in general, man. You know, be around people that help you think different, that help you see different avenues in life, because that's how you grow. Yeah. You know, if you're around people that are constantly doing the same things, thinking the same ways, not ever wanting to change, man, we have to be able to adapt. To grow. Yeah. And without that, you're going to stay stagnant. Yeah. You're going to stay stagnant.
100%.
Yeah. If you're around people that disagree with you, of everything you say, you're not growing, you know, because someone like me, I like to hear different point of views and perspectives on things, right? We might agree, disagree, but, you know, I still gonna respect your opinion, even if I don't agree with it, right? And even what Charles was saying too, it's like, you know, change your environment. If you're in an environment where like you're the top dog, then like you're not growing. You're just gonna say, like what you were saying, you're gonna just be comfortable. Okay, you're gonna stay stagnant, right? Yeah. So I think like forcing yourself, also just get out of your comfort zone too, right? Like if you're staying in your comfort zone, you aren't growing either. You have to, you know, learn to, you know, be comfortable with being uncomfortable too, I feel like as well. So that's just in life in general. So
absolutely. And I'll make this statement real quick about going back to the industry. You know, what I feel like our purpose is in this industry, this particular shop. But I'll just speak to my heartbeat. The name of the podcast is Behind the Chair. But there's something else that's behind the chair, that's behind me. And that's actually on the inside of me. And it's really what fuels me. And really, one of the reasons why Chad said what he said is because I really realized what this is really about. It's really about marketplace ministry. And we have an opportunity to gain a trust with the community, but gain trust with men. So the way my faith in Jesus, I'm going to say Jesus, not God, because a lot of people are saying God, but they don't mean Jesus. So,
yes, sir.
Me personally, everything you do it as unto God. Everything, right? It's the spirit of excellence, but it's not. I'm not trying to do it to earn a certain accolade, but I really take that very, very serious. That when you come in here, I want to gain that standing ovation, but I really want God to get His praise through our work. That's really what it's about. That's how I take my faith and translate it down through the marketplaces. Because at the end of the day, the marketplace is just a place where you can actually walk out and work out your faith amongst the people. So, but that's where it's at, man. That's my heartbeat.
Yes, sir.
You know, taking that faith, taking your faith in God, and really serving people, serving the community.
Well, since you touched on it, D, would you explain to them how you feel about the marketplace and ministry, and how, you know, there's people that may or may not go to church or may not feel or be preserving their faith through their regular daily walk, and how the marketplace can affect that?
Yeah, 100%. And I know what you're trying to do, man. You're trying to get me to preach. I'm not going to preach.
No, I'm not trying to get you to preach, man.
No, the way I feel about the marketplace, man, I feel like, man, I feel like that's where you get your most fruit. Like the most fruit is in the marketplaces. That's where it's at. You know, that's where the relationships are. That's where the people are. That's where the thing that God cares the most about, that's where they at, which is people. So Amen. When I have an opportunity to really build relationships with people, whether that's just serving them, whether that's through just getting to know them and connecting with somebody else, to me, that's what it's really, that's really what it's about, you know.
I agree, and I believe that's your heart. You can see the fruits of it. Fruits are connected to the roots, you know. Mm-hmm. But I think that number one, man, I learned a lot from all you guys, as you well know. But to keep it on D. Scott, I think speaking once again to people that are in this industry, man, develop a love for people.
Yeah.
Develop a love for people. Develop your people skills, because at the end of the day, this is the service industry, and we're in a day and age where a lot of people don't want to be called servants, even when it is to Christ.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a servant.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be on the stage. You want 1 million followers. You want this and that. And I'm not saying all that is not great things, because it is. But just remember where it comes from,
Yeah.
because nothing is ours. We're just stewards. Everything we have, we're stewards of. And also love people, man. I don't care if it's a kid in your chair, because everybody knows that can be difficult when you got a kid crying and you're trying to do a fade on a 3-year-old because their mama wants a sharp cut and a sharp line.
Like the picture.
Like a pitcher, and you're getting frustrated. Just remember that we are doing this because we're serving the Lord. We're serving Jesus in our everyday. I don't care what you do or what field you're in.
Yeah.
We're walking that out. And I think that's a major aspect, man, that we're losing, not just in this industry, but in society. And that's us loving one another, man, and really cherishing our time together.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
For sure.
Well, guys, man, I appreciate y'all joining me on this conversation. All right.
Man, I'm glad to be here, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man, I
Me too.
can't. Hey,
Yeah.
man, this was great, man. It's awesome, man. Y'all my brothers, man, for sure. But let me say this, man. We just did a cut, right? But let me pull out my razor. Let me clean up the edges a little bit.
Sharpen it up.
Yeah, man. I'm
Polish it
gonna leave a note with everybody in our audience that's listening today, man. Everything you do it as unto the Lord. Everything you do. All right. I don't care if you're an athlete. You going to practice and nobody's watching, man, do it in excellence. Right? Leave no reps out there. Don't count the reps, make the reps count. Everything you do. If you're a husband, be the best husband that you can be. If you're a student, man, give it all. Everything you do it as unto God. All right. Don't do it for man. Don't do it for somebody else's approval. But man, truly, truly, truly do it as unto God. So I'll leave you with that. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Standing ovation. The best barbershop in the land.
Yes, sir.
Standing ovation, the best barbershop in the nation.
The best team ever.